On your side, NBC 12 News at 4:30 on CW starts with breaking news.
Breaking right now, we've just learned a missing 75-year-old Spotsylvania woman is now dead. That's according to the Freelance Star. Barbara Taylor's body was found just hours ago by a search and rescue team. A senior alert was issued after she disappeared around 11 last night from her home on Taylor Lane. Deputies were very concerned for her safety because she has a cognitive impairment. The medical examiner will now determine her cause of death. Also now at 4:30, Richmond's police chief renewing efforts to curb violence in the city. This as he admits social media is playing a bigger role now more than ever in many of these crimes. This morning, Chief Alfred Durham held a press conference about growing crime last year. Well, the chief says while major crime is up 1%, violent crime is actually down by 2%. Richmond reporter Kelly Avellino explains how the chief is once again calling on you to step in. Kelly, thanks. Well, now to a crime alert out of South Richmond, where a man is fighting for his life after being shot at the Somerset Glen Apartments. Police say just before 3 this morning, the man was found shot on Westover Hills Boulevard. He had to be rushed to the hospital with life-threatening injuries. Officers are in the early stages of this investigation, so they have not released a suspect description or motive. If you were in that area, though, around 2:45 this morning, detectives would like to hear from you. Just give Crime Stoppers a call at 780-1000. Deputies in Powhatan say this man is now in custody, accused of firing shots at a moving car. Deputies tell us 50-year-old Tennis Hicks is charged with attempted aggravated malicious wounding. They say yesterday Hicks fired at least one shot at a car driving down Route 60 near Trenholm Road. Thankfully, no one was injured. Investigators recovered a weapon during that arrest. Hicks is currently being held without bond and is due in court tomorrow. Well, if you felt the need to bundle up this morning, that's because it's feeling more like winter today, and I don't like that one bit. Meteorologist Megan Wise joining us now. Can we have a warm-up in store or what?
Brent this weekend. Just give it a couple of days. Brent?
All right, Megan. See you soon. Some good news now to pass along this afternoon. A missing pregnant woman who was last seen at the Greyhound bus station on the boulevard. She's been found safe. Richmond police say Sharmika Doyle was located yesterday in Boston after disappearing 2 weeks ago. She was reportedly traveling through Richmond on her way to New York. The family contacted police when she never arrived. And a community forum getting heated during discussions about whether to change the name of 3 Petersburg schools named after Confederate generals. The school board is set to vote on the matter in just a few weeks, and as I learned, some are now questioning, is the decision already made? After a Henrico woman donated $20,000 to help the school system get rid of those Confederate names.
Changing the names of the schools won't change the history of what happened, but it will let us move forward and let us know that the chains are not still on us, that we really are and we truly are free people.
Or how about taking that 20 grand and give the teachers a raise? If you expect great teachers to come and teach these kids, you have to pay those great teachers what they are worth.
A heated exchange Wednesday night as the Petersburg School Board listened to you at issue whether to rename J.E.B. Stewart, A.P. Hill, and Robert E. Lee elementary schools, which are named after Confederate leaders.
The schools were named in the early 1900s during a time of deliberate oppression and intimidation in the South, and they were named for traitors.
These 4 men fought for one thing and one thing only, and that was to defend Virginia. Nothing else.
At one point, fireworks when some in the crowd were upset. Confederate supporters who aren't local were here to weigh in.
These kids
Can I speak or not?
Continue, sir.
I caught up with Christina Marie of Henrico, who donated $20,000 to Petersburg schools to change the name. What do the Confederate symbols mean to you?
Hatred. It's important to know that you are investing in something that means good. It's got to change.
That's a decision now in the hands of these board members.
There are many good things you can do with $20,000 instead of removing the names of 3 great Virginians from their rightful place of honor.
You will not find a place in Eastern Europe where there's a Hitler high school.
Well, I've learned the school system has an additional $1,000 donation pledged, the total putting them well over the $18,000 it would cost to change the names. The board will vote on February 7th. Well, parents in Chesterfield are getting a better idea now on whether their children will have to switch schools soon. At a public meeting last night, school leaders broke down a redistricting proposal that puts about 1,500 students in the Bermuda area in new schools, some as early as next year. If you couldn't attend last night's meeting, don't worry. You can find all you need to know about that proposal on the NBC 12 News app. Sad news now for Richmond comic book lovers. 2 branches of Stories Comics are now closed. Stories Comics posted on Facebook that its Westover Hills and Colonial Heights locations are now closing their doors. According to RVA Hub, crews were seen moving out yesterday. The Broad Street location remains open.
For so long, they put medals.
All right. Aly Raisman is publicly hitting back at USA Gymnastics this afternoon what the Olympic gold medalist wants to see happen now that Dr. Larry Nassar has finally been sentenced for his crimes. And go ahead and check your freezers. We'll tell you why these meatballs are being pulled from store shelves right here in Virginia. All right, I want you to check out this new video of a massive house fire in Florida. Investigators say neighbors saw smoke coming from the home and alerted the people inside. At least 1 adult and 1 child were home at that time. There were also several animals inside. Some goats had to be carried to safety, but a dog did not survive. Right now, it's not clear how that fire started. Well, illusionist David Copperfield is facing allegations he drugged and sexually assaulted a teenager in 1988. The Wrap reports the then 17-year-old met Copperfield while taking part in a modeling competition he was judging. Hours before the story was published, Copperfield tweeted a preemptive statement saying he supports the Me Too movement, but he says he should never rush to judgment, adding that he's been falsely accused in the past. Now that former Olympic gymnast Dr. Larry Nassar has been sentenced by a judge, Aly Raisman says her work is just beginning. Yesterday, Nassar was sentenced to up to 175 years in prison for multiple sex crimes. But Raisman says this crime extends far beyond Larry Nassar. The Olympic gold medalist says his former employers need to make changes going forward.
We need to hold.
And charges are already happening. Last night, Michigan State's president resigned. 3 top executives from USA Gymnastics also resigned on Monday. Nassar is serving 60 years in prison for a separate federal child porn case.
This.
Brent, back to you.
All right, thanks so much, Tracy. And on your side alert this afternoon involving more than 3,400 pounds of frozen meatballs being recalled over listeria concerns. Rich Products Corporation has issued a recall for its Members Mark Italian-style beef meatballs. They were sold in several states, including Virginia. The USDA says the meatballs were sold in 36-pound cases containing 6-pound bags. The meatballs have a best if used by date of December 17th of this year. But if you have the meatballs in your freezer, go ahead and throw them away or return them to the store. Some Chesterfield County inmates preparing for life after jail, and they could use your help. The county's heroin addiction recovery program is helping inmates change their lives, but even they will admit to you sometimes their outward appearance keeps them from taking the necessary steps towards recovery. AJ Nwoko caught up with members of the program working to erase a permanent part of their past.
Of 12 News.
Well, the tattoo removal service is only eligible for those in the program, and only visible tattoos on the neck and hands will be removed. Well, a Miami business owner now facing charges accused of selling millions of dollars worth of counterfeit luxury goods. 26-year-old Ulysses Valencia was arrested last Thursday. Police say he ran a legitimate clothing store in the front of the business, but investigators say Homeland Security tipped them off to counterfeit designer clothing and even jewelry that were being sold out of the back of the store. Undercover detectives were floored when they discovered just how much all of those items were worth. Well, the counterfeit goods were all impounded. Valencia is now charged with selling forged or counterfeit private labels. And Oprah Winfrey putting those rumors of a 2020 presidential run to rest. She told InStyle magazine, quote, "I've always felt secure and confident with myself in knowing what I could do and what I could not do," end quote. She says the presidency is not something that interests her, and she doesn't have the, quote, DNA for it. She talked to InStyle 3 weeks before her rousing speech at the Golden Globes, so it's unclear if Oprah had a change of heart between the interview and her speech.
Accurate.
Here's a look at what's in primetime tonight on CW Richmond. You can see all of the new episodes of Supernatural and Arrow starting at 8. Well, a coffee company now owes Grumpy Cat and her owner $700,000. Grumpy Cat's owner cut a deal with the Grenade Beverage Company 5 years ago to sell a line of iced coffees called Grumpy Cat Grumpachino. But Grumpy's owner claims the company used the cat's image on other promotions, including t-shirts and a line of roasted coffee. Well, her company, called Grumpy Cat Limited, already makes items with a Grumpy Cat theme. So don't mess with Grumpy, in other words. Hey, that's all the time we have at 4:30, but the news at 5 is just minutes away on NBC 12. Make it a good one.